Alright, hey guys, King of Charmanders! So if you are very interested in Master Premier Machamp, even though despite the fact that Togekiss probably runs around more than Swiss cheese, and it's really, really annoying, welcome to Machamp for Masters Premier with Payback. Now the good thing with Payback is there's something called Metagross that runs around. With Payback, I think there's a lot of things you can do as long as, like I said, you're able to keep away from Charmers. Well, there's only one primary Charmer in Master League, and that's Togekiss. So as long as you can stay away from Togekiss, you're pretty dang good in my opinion. Anyways, as you see here, Masters Premier, you're weak to Fairy, Flying, and Psychic. So for Masters Premier, if I have to think about it, that's Metagross. Metagross doesn't have... Metagross has Psychic, so just be careful of that. Fairies, like Togekiss, of course. Flying types, which I would say, like, probably Charizard. Well, Charizard does not primary, but if they run Air Slash Togekiss, then you're weak against that. Now, you're resisting Bug, Dark, and Rock. So, Obstagoon with Night Slash. That's a thing for Master Premier. But I don't really recall any Bug types or Rock types that are super dominant in, like, Masters Premier. Or at least from the top of my head. Anyways, this is going to analyze Payback with Master Premier. Now, disclaimer. Masters Premier is a mess right now. Because it's level 50. So if Machamp, we're just gonna assume that Masters Premier is at level 40, and this is how Machamp performs. So I'll do another video on Master Premier with level 50. However, let's take a look at Machamp and see how it would have performed in Masters Premier at the level 40 range. So here's the PAYBACK.com rankings. In Master Premier, Machamp ranks pretty high with its Cross Chop Rock Slide variation. As you see here, with that variation, you're able to cover things like Dragonite and Gyarados with Rock Slide. That's what makes the Payback variation really interesting, because Rock covers a lot of being able to cover the flying weakness really makes a difference. So Machamp's best used in the lead or the closer. You don't want to switch it, because if you switch into Machamp, you're likely just going to switch it into a positive matchup. A good example is that in Premier Cup Masters, a lot of people would like to, if for me that uses Snorlax Safe Switch a lot, they would switch their Machamp in the back to basically run down your Snorlax. So that's one of the ways you could do it, but generally, as you see here, the best used in the lead and closer scenarios, and not so much as a switch. But the Rock Slide, lack of Rock Slide kind of hurts a lot. This is why I don't really recommend running it in Masters Premier. This is really just a for science type of deal, like with Open Masters. Rock Slide just gives you that coverage against Gyarados and Dragonite, and those are common Pokemon being used, and they're really important to threaten. If your opponent figures out you have Payback and you're not trying to hit them with a Rock Slide, then they're going to figure it out and be like, oh, okay, then they have a really good control of whatever matchup Machamp's in right now. Alright, so here's PAYBACK.com matrix. Again, please consider donating PAYBACK.com. Now I have the Cross Chop, and we got Payback, and then we have Cross Chop and Rock Slide. Nothing too fancy here. We're just gonna go with the standard moveset, and just gonna replace Rock Slide with Payback and see what happens if we lose that rock coverage. So I have 2 shield right here. We're gonna battle, and as you see here, with Rock Slide, you can take out Charizard. This is Master Premier, by the way, so yeah. But if you look closely to 2 shield, there's really no difference. You win against what you win against, and you lose against what you lose against. The exception here is regular Machamp is able to take out Rhyperior and Scizor in the 2 shield, just because of that extra bulk. Other than that, Payback or Rock Slide only really wins you the Charizard matchup in Masters Premier. In the 1 shield is where things get really, kind of dicey. As you see here, you lose against a slew of things. With the Payback version, as you see with Payback variations, it's really dangerous. So, you lose against Charizard, you're able to take out extra the regular version because of Cross Chop, and it looks like you beat. Like I said, you beat. So, with the Payback version, the one matchup that you really absolutely destroy is Metagross. So in the one shield, you can take out Metagross. Now, if it's Shadow, Bullet Punch damage thing, but like with Shadow Champ here, as you see, Payback does 141 damage. So you practically wipe out a Metagross. So you almost literally like wipe it out. So as long as you can bait in the ones, if you can bait, it's a bait dependent matchup, but if you can bait with Cross Chop, you can end it with Payback. So being able to cover Metagross is good. And as you see here, you generally cover almost what you normally would cover and lose what you lose against. In other words, Payback's not an obscene upgrade, but you're able to flip the Metagross matchup. In the zeros, let's see. In the zeros, we're in the zeros. Now, this is where things you might see the difference. For example, with Rock Slide, you can beat Charizard. With Payback, with regular Payback, you could actually beat Haxorus. So with Haxorus, you can actually, I think you can Payback this to death. So if you Payback Haxorus, you do 96 damage. So you don't do a lot. Well, that's a lot. Like it's over half of it, but like it's not as much as I originally thought, actually. So in the zeros, you could take it out. You could take out Haxorus out with Payback, or if you get enough energy, you could take out Haxorus out with Payback. And it looks like against Magnezone, you're pretty much going to cross chop it down. Same thing with Mamoswine. With Payback, you can also take out Scizor in the zeros if you have regular Machamp, which. So, in the zeros, you could flip, like, 2 matchups or something like that. It's very odd. Like, it's super random to be able to take out Haxorus with the regular version and Scizor with Payback. Other than that, Rock Slide doesn't let you because Scizor resists Rock Slide. So, it's just... Well, it doesn't resist Rock Slide, but does neutral damage. So, as you see here, it's really interesting. How about if you have Shield Advantage? So, if you have Shield Advantage, is there any notable matchup that Payback beats that Rock Slide wouldn't? So, let's see. Is there anything? Gengar's one. I don't foresee Master League Gengar, like, to see 1,000 of them. But if you do see one, it's right here. You can beat Master League Gengar. You can also beat Haxorus. So, it looks like Haxorus is the victim of being able to get yeeted by a Payback with, like, one Payback. You also are able to cover Metagross without Shadow. Yeah, you're able to cover Metagross as long as you have Payback. So, that's another thing. So, Metagross is probably the biggest matchup that you will cover. In the 1-0s, you destroy a lot of things. And it looks like with Shadow Champ with Payback, you can still take out things like Swampert, Typhlosion, and obviously you want to keep it for Togekiss. In other words, by the looks of the Sims, Payback is actually not that bad. Yes, you lose coverage against Flyers and Rock Slide and whatnot. Yeah, Gyarados is probably the bigger one where you lose coverage. So it's, if you want to use it to cover Machamp, Metagross, as far as like a one-shot thing, it can work out. Unfortunately, without Rock Slide, you are susceptible to losing to Flyers. Even in a 2-0s, you'll still lose against Dragonite just because of Dragon Breath damage, and you'll lose against Gyarados. So Gyarados is the big one here that you can't flip. So Gyarados is a pretty big matchup. Like I said, it's not that bad, but like with Gyarados and Dragonite, they're pretty prevalent in Master Premier. So it's not too comfortable not having coverage against them. As you see here in the 2-1s, if you have Shield Advantage, you can take out Garchomp. But I don't think it's with Payback. With Payback, you could take out Gengar. Machamp, you only win. So whoever has Win CMP or has more attack will win the matchup with Machamp. Or whoever has Energy Lead, not whoever has more attack. Assuming you're even. So it looks like over here with the 2-1s, you can actually beat Metagross with Shadow Champ. As long as I think you can go straight. I don't know if you can go straight Payback though, because you have to bait with Cross Chop. That's another thing that kind of keeps you from the Metagross matchup, is unless you have enough energy to just hit it, you can't really take out Metagross. You kind of have to bait. But you pretty much wipe Metagross from the face of the earth if you are able to land it, where it's pretty dang good. But losing Gyarados is here, as you see in the 2-1s, you're still going to lose against Gyarados. So it's good, but like it's not like game breaking at all. So Payback is good, but like I said, it's not game breaking at all. There's it's one specific use is so you could take out Metagross. Alright, so if I had to give Machamp with Payback a rating in Masters Premier, I would give it a 6 out of 10. So the thing about Machamp, what makes it good is you cover Metagross. But here's the issue. You don't necessarily cover it entire. As you see here, you can only beat Metagross if you succeed. Well, not really. Okay, so this is actually a different. So this is Machamp. Let's assume the Shadow version. So with Machamp with Cross Chop, you could go straight Cross Chop into 2 shield. So you could still beat Metagross. that's the thing. You can still beat Metagross without Payback. So the thing is, it really only benefits you if you're actually trying to nuke it, and the one shield is bait dependent. So in the one shield, you have to have energy lead, otherwise Metagross outpaces you, as you see here. If you straight Payback, the only times you can straight Payback is if you have energy, if you have shield advantage. But that's kind of the thing. With Cross Chop, you can still win in the 2 shields. So you don't even it's very subjective to where you need Payback. That's just the biggest issue, because as you see, you still beat Metagross without Payback with shield advantage, or if you're in the 1-0s with just Cross Chop in general. So you don't even really need Payback. Payback just gives you the extra one. Payback basically gives you the 1 shield, and even then, that's a bait dependent matchup. Without Rock Slide, you give up coverage against Togekiss. As you see here, here's our beautiful little flying fortress that you and me also may hate. Well, some of you may hate and some of you may actually like it. As you see here, you get completely walled. With Rock Slide, there's a chance. So with Rock Slide, without Rock Slide, you lose coverage against flying types, which are kind of prevalent because of Dragonite. As you see here, if you have energy lead, let's assume you have like 30 energy. Okay, not 30 energy, like 30, like 40, like 30 energy and like 40 energy, something of that sort. Okay, let's do 45. 45 with your starting HP at about 120, so you beat the crap out of it a little bit. As you see here, it's a very specific scenario, but with Rock Slide, you can do 101 damage. So there is outs versus Togekiss. So you do have an out versus Togekiss. In the 0s, if you can hit a Rock Slide, you can do 101 damage. So there is coverage with Togekiss in a certain scenario. It's 160. If you have chip damage, as you see here, if you have a little bit of chip damage and you have energy on Machamp, you can flip this matchup. It's possible. With Payback, you get walled against Togekiss. Along with that, you lose coverage against Dragonite and Gyarados, 2 pretty relevant Metamons. That's why Payback is not that great. You can still beat Metagross without Payback with Cross Chop. So Rock Slide is just a must. Because of that, I can't endorse Payback in Masters Premier. You could probably use it to have a little bit of fun, but if you aren't memeing and you're trying to climb Elo, I do not recommend Payback. It's just not fit for Masters Premier. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Good luck on your Battle League sets, and I will see you on the next video.